to ban away the Rise when they are on blue side. In the same way that G2 did in game 1, they cannot afford to give it. They cannot afford to give it up because their priority is on getting Jarvan or maybe even Rek'Sai in the first rotation to guarantee that strong jungle matchup for Xmithie.
Definitely aware how it all has started. Taric is also going to be banned, mirrored again on the other side here, so no Sona Taric games will make their way into the finals yet.
Interesting that Jace is still being banned from Team Liquid. It looks like that even though Impact actually played this a lot during the regular season of the LCS, they've just decided to completely move away from it and look to put priority elsewhere. With Sylas still up and available, this is something that TL could look to prioritize.
And Team Liquid have been pretty vocal about realizing what they need to take from this tournament to add to their own style to really make a new Team Liquid. And they want to still rely on those team fighting and those groupings towards the mid game. However, they also talked about wanting strong matchups that will allow and enable some early action from Xmithie.
Well, Big Champion Select alert, Akali, Sylas, Jarvan, all available right now with the Jarvan ban. Rek'Sai becomes the only really premier jungler, but Akali and Sylas, of course, very important as well. And Team Liquid say, okay, Jensen, on the Akali you go, can still go to Impact.
Now, I want to cast your minds back to the first time these two teams met, gentlemen.
Lysandra? Is that what you're referring to?
I believe that is what Cap said after he found a solo kill onto Jensen with the Sylas up against his Akali. And Caps has demonstrated both sides of the matchup and his proficiency in them, whereas Jensen during the group stages struggled on both sides of the matchup.
Seeing the lock-in, I am proud of Jensen and Team Liquid to be able to have the confidence to take this again, but I am also a bit cautious, a wee bit cautious. Now, some of those adaptations you're talking about Caps displaying may have, been some of the learnings and takeaways for Team Liquid. The Conqueror rune change, the build change. We'll see if those become a factor as Varus has been locked in for G2 and taken away from Team Liquid.
Now, I think the biggest debate Team Liquid's having right now is, do they go for Skarner or Rek'Sai, or do they just look in the bot lane? Because what we've seen is that if you go for Rek'Sai, then there's going to be an answer with the Skarner. But if you go for the Skarner, does G2 have something else that is prepared? So they decide to lock in their bot lane here, and this gives the freedom for G2 to lock in Rek'Sai, because then they can, of course, immediately ban the Skarner away.
Yeah, Team Liquid opting to give up the possible Rek'Sai here in exchange for a strong bottom lane matchup. They know that bottom lane will be targeted. They will whittle down Doublelift's champion pool here. They need the Ashe to compete with the bottom side because that is what was exploited in the last game. Yes, there was a level 1, there was a flash blown, but that is where the game was made.
And this Ashe complements nicely with the Akali because it can set up a lot of picks for the side of Team Liquid. This time in the mid game, they can look for G2, who often try to split up the map to try and catch them off guard and see if there are windows where they can find these kills and claw control over the game.
Two other points that matter here, of course, you've got desync jungle picks, so G2 can keep banning away junglers on one side. Team Liquid, of course, can start pushing away supports from Mickey X. The other one is we talked about how tracking Jankos and stopping those early ganks would be important. Ashe can do that outside of the jungle role with Hawkshot, try to track the Rek'Sai, say, okay, she's top side, we're okay to play aggressive bottom side. Has to be a recall and a 20-minute walk till we're in danger down here, and it gives some extra room for TL to play around.
Can confirm, Hawkshot, one of the most annoying abilities for junglers to deal with.
And now we see G2 rounding out their final ban with the Lee Sin. So with junglers taken off the board, my expectations are that they'll actually look to try and grab their mid laner right now. Could be the Lysandra, could even be something... Oh, what am I talking about? Of course, I have to go for that. The Sylas has already been locked in. They'll grab themselves a support. The Thresh, I think, is something that Mickey has played a decent amount during the regular season. Pyke is another option that he could go for, depending on how aggressively that they want to play.
Well, I don't think he's the Pyke player on this team. Kennen is the most played top laner for Impact, and G2 sealed Game 5 with Pyke into Kennen. There is a decent chance we see that here in this matchup. Does Team Liquid blink and say, we don't want to play that?
I am on the edge of my seat right now, Freak, seeing how the turn will actually come up in this Champion Select. What will Team Liquid answer with? They have to blind for Impact. Will it be the Kennen? Uh-oh. That could bring up the Pyke solo lane. I thought it was so effective against the Kennen. Kennen unable to punish the Pyke in lane, even with the range advantage, because Pyke with the passive can back off, heal up, and Pyke always has an all-in threat through the Bone Skewer as well as the mobility of the champion.
Well, part of what helps G2 win that matchup is a lot of pressure and a lot of ganks from the mid lane and from the jungle going up there constantly. A great early aggressive jungler in the Olaf. There's the Pyke we expected at this point.
We are no longer surprised by a top lane Pyke.
We are no longer surprised by top lane Pyke from G2 Esports. This is their counter pick into ranged matchups, and it's a lot of pressure from jungle mid that turns it around. Xmithie now must stay ahead of Jankos, and Jensen must stay ahead of Caps to prevent that from happening.
Betty, you kept asking me about champion select points throughout yesterday, throughout this morning, and my #1 response was, I really think Team Liquid are going to be banning Pyke because it is so scary, offers so much for the versatility of this team, but you know, the gold sharing later on becomes a factor. The execute is such a big part when you combo with other possible sources of burst damage.
And the thing that I just have a fun story for you. I was talking to Mickey this morning and I was like, is today the day you get to prove you're the best Pyke player on the team? And he's like, I hope so. I really hope if I can get the right matchup. And you can see him when he was hovering that thresh, he's like, I'm being robbed right now. This pick is being stolen from me, but you know what? I'm fine as long as I get to play another hook champion in the thresh. And we spoke about pick potential on the side of Team Liquid. There is so much mobility and poke potential, pick potential rather, on the side of this G2 squad as well. So much skirmishing power with the draft that they've gone for.
All right, pressure is on for game 2 of this best-of-5 final. Who would have thought it was North America versus Europe, but it is. In G2, the new kings of Europe, you see that 5 on their chest, 5 championships in the 7 splits they've been in Europe. The most dominant team of Europe over the last 3.5 years. That is unquestionable. And they could bring home Europe's first trophy since 2011. G2, this is the new run for them. Team Liquid were built for this, and they've got to answer back now in game 2.
You've just hyped up the entire European continent right now, Freak. They're all looking at this Pyke. They saw game 1. They are feeling excited and then looking forward to seeing what they can do up against Team Liquid, who have tried to adapt coming into game 2.
I do think they should be hyped, Vedius, for this lineup. Adding Caps, Perks, the captain of the team, willing to change lanes, and they still find success. Let's take a look at the invade, though. Olaf always gives you priority with the axe spam. That, combined with Braum, is basically a win in a level 1 skirmish. So Team Liquid trying to take looks here, while on the top side of your map, you see 2 members of Team Liquid trying to cover that pixel brush and disperse a little bit.
Team Liquid trying to match the early aggression that G2 demonstrated last game. But G2 actually showing a lot of respect, staying in darkness, trying to avoid all of the vision so that Jankos' starting point is unknown to Xmithie.
Yeah, recognizing the fact, Braum and Olaf on the enemy team with multiple other, Ash Volley as well is incredibly powerful as far as level 1. They know they have no place contesting it, so they don't get themselves into a dangerous spot. Let's go over the junglers here. Olaf, people may not have seen him quite a while, probably should have, can easily clear for himself. AoE start here on the Raptor camp, as you can see with the talisman start, no problem.
The Rek'Sai actually starting on his blue, immediately transferring into the Grom, which means that Xmithie should have information on where the enemy jungler is now because Perks and Mickey came to a lane rather late. You'll also notice that Jensen has actually adapted Caps' Akali build, going for the Conqueror and likely picking up the Leandries later on so that when they move off to a side lane, the Akali can actually come out in extended trade.
It's one of those things we touched on, learning from your opponents. In Team Liquid's victory over the defending world champions IG, Jensen locks in Lux into the Zoe matchup, learning from the North American LCS finals. Yet again here at the hands of Caps, learning from the Akali side of the Sylas matchup.
And here you can hear from just more than us as Shox caught up with G2's coach after the draft. Let's get ourselves a sideline report.
I just got a chance to catch up with G2's coach, Grabs. I first asked him about team morale. Obviously, after game 1, he said it's the same as before. We're not getting overheated. We were confident, and we still are. And of course, asked him about the Pyke pick once again. I asked him, is this now just going to be the standard for you guys? He said, no, it's still very situational. And in this case, it just works out very well. Their AD carry has no dash, so it is a perfect pick. I asked him also what he found about TL's composition. He said, well, nothing to be surprised by. This is a typical Team Liquid composition. And if they don't get a lead early, they don't win the game. So he's feeling pretty confident about this one.
And confidence in the bottom lane as Double have chunked down to 200 HP. They'll find a stun on the Thresh, but Jankos could go for a big play. Another play into the flash knockup, and CoreJJ will be knocked down for Jankos' second first blood of the match.
And a beautiful hook landed by Mickey to set up the play onto double lift. Absolutely beautiful execution. Nets G2 first blood once again.
There may be questions who the best Pyke on the team is, but no question who the best Thresh on the team is. Mickey, again, getting a lead on the bottom side of the map for G2.
Jankos is the one that picks up the first blood on this Rek'Sai. Everyone knows how devastating this champion can be, and now he's looking to relieve some pressure mid.
Oh, not spotted right now. They do know Olaf is around. The smoke shroud comes out, and it's going to be some damage. Caps finds the stun as Conqueror pops on both sides. Plenty of damage there. No knockup yet for Jankos. Keep in mind, it is a flashless Rek'Sai. Can't go too aggressive without giving away an opportunity. It's going to be wave clear, and the first recall forced out by Caps.
Like the appearance of Xwithy in the mid lane, but here we see keep your eyes on Mickey, and notice how he goes in between the minions just as it dies. Double of paths the wrong way. He gets hooked up underneath the tower. Now, while he doesn't take a tower shot, the damage is already done, which means that he's forced to flash early, and then CoreJJ has to give up his life so that his AD carry can survive. But that's 3 out of 4 summoner spells burned. Which means that Jankos could look for a potential play once again bot lane.
And now Jensen's got to be careful as well. Not going to hit just yet, but we know Caps can try to find something. Look for the stun, not getting it yet. Now the rest of the squad is here, 3-on-3 as now Perkz is over the wall. This is a fight that G2 might win. Looking at Jankos, he's flashless, and Jensen is on the board. But now it's towards CoreJJ. He will be shut down as well as G2 answer back.
Yep, 1 kill for Jensen on the Akali. 1 kill for Silas on this for G2.
And it is Caps that ends up picking that one up in the mid lane, but in that situation, TL knew, or expected rather, this play to come out. They had 3 people all moving towards this mid lane position, and they knew that the Rek'Sai had no flash, so he was the immediate target focus, and in the early game, he's very squishy, so they were able to come out on top. What they weren't expecting was the arrival of Perkz, and that extra member, that extra bit of damage, enabled G2 to turn it into a 1-4.
All right, let's take another look at it. Jankos on the Rek'Sai, still staying underground, so he does get the pings to see that Xwithy and CoreJJ are arriving. And CoreJJ makes the dash in to start the action here, and Team Liquid immediately turn on Jankos. They get the first kill, but on the same token, yes, the Rek'Sai doesn't have a flash because he went bottom side and killed the Braum, taking the Braum's flash as well, so CoreJJ also no way out of the fight, and mid laners both get kills.
And notice how Mickey did not use his lantern to actually try and save Jankos. He made the decision in the moment to try and bring Perkz into the fight because he realized my jungler is already gone. Rather than try and save him, let's redeem this situation. So I'd much rather have more damage than try and save a lost Perkz.
And that's going to be over the wall for Jankos. G2 knowing all about redemption. It's been good for them so far over time. Now a fight towards Perkz, and what a great lantern there. I do want to point out that Jensen has yet to back. He's still holding on to his teleport, landing as long as he can for a later, bigger power spike. There is finally the item coming through. That is a Cutlass in, and he has better items so far than Caps in his mid lane.
And despite the extra kill for G2, because of the Kennen on the top side with Klepto, you can see that Team Liquid actually slightly more gold still. A lot of it is focused on that Kennen matchup, though.
And what's interesting here is that yesterday when we saw Wunder playing his Pyke into Khan's Kennen, it was actually surprisingly even. And I think a part of that was Khan wasn't familiar or used to the matchup with the Kennen into Pyke. Here we're seeing a lot more confident play from the side of Impact. Not only does that show his confidence on the Kennen, but it also shows that he's been paying a lot of attention to how Wunder plays this Pyke, but he's also aware of where the jungle attention is going. He knows that a lot of focus is around the bot side of the map, so he can look to play aggressive and actually build up a decent lead in this 1v1.
Looking across the lanes right now, it's fairly equal across the board. The first blood for Jankos answered pretty well by Xwithy's extra farm being Olaf. Most of this gold lead for TL is in the top lane. This almost 20 CS lead for Impact. Expected based on the matchup. Again, the way it flips is getting pressure from your other teammates. And as we watch Caps and Jensen fight off back and forth, as he steals the Akali ult, could this be the all-in that Caps wants to look for? Not just yet as he walks away.
Yeah, Xwithy in the wings here, threatening to turn that 1v1 upside down, and Caps backs off.
Very close, so you can see the break point for this Silas versus Akali matchup. Once she gets the Gunblade, and in particular, once she gets that Liandry's, she'll be in a much better position. But in the interim, with Caps having that level 6 and having a couple more items under his belt, he's coming out ahead in a lot of these small trades.
Yeah, we can take the opportunity to dive a little bit into those adjustments that Cap showed in this matchup that Jensen will probably be learning from. You know, there are damage over time adjustments. Let's talk about the top side, though. Gank incoming.
The first attempted gank topside. Impact had just burned his teleport. Protobelt to the side, then jukes the other way around. Does get away from the Bone Skewer. The guessing game this time around does go to Impact.
So this time around, Wonder will just walk away, unable to land the skill shot. Good use of the Protobelt from Impact to make things even harder for Wonder to land that. The Tiamat has now come through for Wonder, which means he has a little bit more pressure in the 1v1. But speaking of pressure, Cap's continuing to push in this mid lane.
Quick wave clear there. The CS difference 6 right here in this mid lane. They both got 300 gold kills, and just that small lead as Caps really wants to stop that recall. Takes a few turret shots for it, but does slow Jensen down. That might mean he loses a couple of CS on the way back.
Yeah, that's a pretty big delay as far as allowing him to push up. We'll see if the teleport is burned. Jensen is going to use it. Xmithy, 2 members of G2 on his tail.
There's going to be a fight over this top river as Mickey X roams around. A great smite for Jankos. Jukes away as Xmithy won't find himself a slow just yet, and now we have Caps recalling on a ward. That could be face checked though by Jensen, and now a fight in top side as they trade stuns here, and the Pyke ult still up, so a major cooldown advantage and health advantage to keep in mind there is now Jankos with flash, could look for the play. The Wonder's going to heal up and knock down the wave.
The E from Impact just came back up, so Wonder and Jankos could not look for the play. Impact saw an opportunity to try and at least release some pressure towards the top side, maybe find a kill. Unfortunately, does not convert into anything for him. But in terms of how the early game is going, TL feel pretty confident. We did hear from Grabs that his expectations are that if TL don't get ahead in the early, then they'll fall off. And I think one of the big reasons for that is we already talked about how Sylas into the Akali is typically Sylas favored, and it usually only gets harder unless you kind of take this pivot in terms of itemization. But also, Pyke becomes so difficult to deal with in the late game because of how much mobility he has and how easy it is for him to find picks onto squishy targets like the Ashe.
Yeah, the Ashe is going to have a lot of things to dodge here. Double F going to rely on the flash because there is a Varus ultimate, Mickey on the Thresh, a diving combination of the Pyke and the Rek'Sai will all be going for him.
And speaking of Ashe, we have to keep our eyes on the bot lane because notice how Jensen and Caps have a difference in summoner spells right now. Jensen uses teleport to get back into lane. Caps is available, which means they can create a numbers advantage, which is why Jankos is posturing and they're looking to try and make a play. And
Hawkshot missed Jankos and Wonder's roaming down with Mobies. They do not know this is a 4v2.
Yep, bottom lane for Team Liquid has been pushed up the majority of this game. They're playing it cautiously now, seeing the movements.
The Spidey senses were tingling for the duo of Team Liquid. They're going to back away. They weren't sure where Wonder was. They saw Caps posturing, which means that for now they will be safe.
This should be a move from G2 to try and get something out of it, though. They don't have a teleport on Wonder, so he's going mid.
He is in mid, looking for the pull-off on a Jensen, getting out of the Shroud. Plenty of damage coming out here. Here comes the rest of it. Not quite finding the kill. Jensen not in execute range.
And they're also starting up the Dragon during this, so they are going to get a Mountain Dragon in exchange for Impact, as you can see on the mini-map on Kennen, getting a couple turret plates.
This is still great for Team Liquid, though. They force a flash.
Flash force now an ult out of CoreJJ. Ult's back away and just barely stays alive, but that is 3 summoners lost on the Team Liquid side just for a couple of ults of G2. They are getting leads across the map, and now Wonder fighting with Smithy. Keep in mind, if Olaf gets too low, he can be executed, and Caps has an Akali ult on top. They are explosive here, these two.
Yep, mid lane pressure here from G2. Since Jensen just went back to base means that they get to chase Xmithy out of the river, and they have to abandon that minion wave.
But the reason why I was saying that this is actually still pretty good for Team Liquid, outside of them losing all their summoners bot, was the fact that they got a lot of turret plates top, but now it could be terrible for Team Liquid.
Just Ashe arrow, they hit the stun on a perk, but here comes the knock up there towards CoreJJ. TP comes in as Caps joins in, they find the first. Nice stopwatch buys time, but the drag row, it's gonna be easy to juggle around as Perks finds kill number 2, and G2 up 4-1. Now Jensen is here, but he is very much outnumbered. Dives in for a fight. Look at the crowd control, has to flash away. Now it's Impact on top, and it's Team Liquid looking for a comeback kill, but they cannot quite find it. Finally, Protobelt gets one. Impact, he's gonna find number 2, and he saves the bottom lane.
Impact barely scraping together some gold for Team Liquid after G2 get another plate off of the turret after the kills, top side as well. This time it is Wonder left split pushing. Let's take another look at this. As he said, they blew all of the summoners save for the heal on double up the bottom side, and the ultimate from CoreJJ was down as well, so they called for the 4-person dive from G2. With the stopwatch there from Mickey, able to drop the tower aggro, they pull off the initial kills, they take down the plate, and then with Jensen roaming down, they make the call for Impact to come in with flash on Kennen. A lot of AoE damage done by Jensen. They do trade the 2 flashes there and get the last kill with this proto belt. Also, Yanko's coming in and trying to defend caps. Means that Impact will get the stun and get a second.
This is what Papa Smithy would call tactical inting from Jensen. He dives in, and it looks like that he's going in for a 1v4. Why is he making this play? Well, he's doing it to bait G2 to overextend underneath the tower to allow Impact to find this beautiful setup with the cannon ultimate. And due to his great roam, they're able to turn it 2 for 2 and actually secure themselves the gold lead.
And Power Spike's coming in. Gunblade now done for Jensen. A Rift Herald picked up with 20 seconds to summon it before the plates drop. That would be a nice 300 gold donation that he would love to get if it can happen. Right now, though, G2 pressuring top side as a lane swap around. Mickey X works up there alongside Devilift and Core JJ. Camp's going down. G2 completely taking over this top river.
The fact that Team Liquid secure themselves the Rift Herald means that they're the ones set up for a siege. If they can land it onto a tower with the plates gone, it should be a pretty easy objective. But setting up for that will be the hard part, as you rightly said, Freak. It is G2 that seem to have main control, especially around the topside river.
Certainly with the vision here. Zombie wards and control wards flooding the river for G2. And as you can see with this toggle, Team Liquid no longer have any early alert system for as to where the enemy transitions are going to come from.
Look at the next big play, as Caps is the one to pressure in the mid lane pretty easily. Has nice mana regen thanks to his Lost Chapter, and off he goes around the map. Wonder roaming around quickly again, has Moby Boots, able to shove the wave in with his Tiamat, look for mid, then come back to bot lane before anything is lost. This turret is low. That is what TL had done in their 2-on-2, but there will not be any minis lost in the turret.
I want to point out that Team Liquid's gold lead still is all on Impact. He basically has a over 2,000 gold advantage over his lane opponent. And that is so much of Team Liquid's power. So if they are going to fight, they have to have this cannon. The big AoE magic damage ultimate is their biggest tool.
And the scariest thing about this is Team Liquid want to try and utilize that now. Because the longer they wait, if Pike can find those kills, he very quickly comes back.
That's a flash for the first stun. Plenty of damage towards Impact, now trying to stay alive with Slicing Maelstrom, but here comes the rest of it. Oh, Protoball buys a bit of space, but still will drop 1 for 0 in the bottom lane.
Impact does what he can to try and avoid the execution from Wonder, and while he doesn't get the kill to the Pike, unfortunately he cannot get away from death.
Impact actually goes down. G2 attack Team Liquid's biggest strength, and with that, a counterplay on top side. Rift Herald is activated, hook is landed, but again, this is the weak side of the map right now for G2 because they committed 2 members to go kill Impact.
Yeah, and I like this play from Team Liquid, Kobe, because they could choose to keep the pressure up if they wanted to. They've even, I'm looking at the location of the Kali right now, she's actually gone down bot.
This could be winnable right now. Wonder does not have an ultimate, and the damage does come through. Jensen finds the kill on the push as Yanko's too far away to help.
This is a great situation for Team Liquid to find themselves in right now. Even though they lost Impact, Akali gets himself another kill, and they're able to secure a top tower, so they sit with the gold lead still in their back pocket.
Definitely strong from the Team Liquid members to maintain their poise. Even though Impact does get killed, the answer is even better. Rift Herald on top side, get the tower, and Jensen transitioning down to bottom side to answer with the kill. G2, though, still pushed ahead, got the bottom turret. Elemental Dragon's the next objective.
And we can see the clear difference between Game 1 and Game 2. Team Liquid did not concede as much in the early game. They weren't losing all across the board, and Jankos was not able to snowball kill after kill after kill. So now they're transitioning into the mid game with a 1.5k gold lead. Their cannon top is extremely strong, and Team Liquid are actually the team that's in the better position for force fights.
And again, we keep looking at this cannon top, Impact. He has flash available, teleport available, is level 11 with the Proto Belt. There is so much power here for Team Liquid. The big AoE team fights have been what they have relied on throughout the history of this team. If that is going to get them back into this series, it could be a very critical mid-game play.
And you look at the individual contributors here for TL, Impact and Jensen are the gold leaders of the game. It's now the TL solos in the driver's seat. Yanko's with his couple of kills actually has a lot of the share of G2's money, and now we look at mid-pressure. Ash arrow used under the turret, and Corjay takes it up as Flash comes down. Looking for the crystal arrow, finds one back, but not someone in range as the turret stays alive.
Core JJ flashing to jump in to save Doublelift's life there as Doublelift flashes out. Big play there from G2 to get a lot of summoner spells and cooldowns However, they don't come away with the kill. Jensen on the outside is Akali, gonna throw down the Shroud.
Also, a bit of luck there for Double Lift because Wonder was not close enough to land that execute. It came out a little bit delayed, which means Double Lift had time to flash out of that situation, but that could have been his death. Would he have been a little bit slower?
There are definitely a lot of very scary pick tools on the side of G2. Now that there are no flashes on the Ashe or Braum, the Rek'Sai, the Varus, the Pike, all very threatening. Another Lantern here from Mickey is going to save Perks without the need of any summoners.
Have a look at the two side lanes right now. You can see that Caps has actually pushed in towards the top side and was going up against Impact. Impact kind of postured for a potential 1 versus 1. Decided not to go for it because of the positioning of the wave. But as an answer to losing pressure on one side lane, they've gained it in the other. Jensen knows that he can win the 1v1 against Wonder, so they've kept him in this side lane to match up against the Pike, and Wonder is forced to play on the defensive. He can't look for as many roams as he was doing prior in this game.
Smithy back towards the mid lane. Akali waiting and Tribrush down there as it's a defensive wave caught up by Caps with the Yankos near him as well as you look around the minimap. It is G2 forced to be on their side of the river. Teal up in gold and up in pressure. Knocking down some of these wards here and trying to get some of this control back. Game 2 a lot closer than Game 1. It was nearly over by this point in the first one. Good to see some signs of life for the North American squad.
Yeah, and there's so many ways that these team fights can look. Because of the versatility of these champions, a lot of this is going to be about protecting your flanks with vision. Like Smithy does get hooked in, but it's not going to be a dangerous area because Team Liquid have been able to carve out an area around the mid lane here with a little bit of true sight.
The thing I'm most scared of for Team Liquid is this Pike. If he finds himself 1 kill, remember that he shares that gold with the rest of his team. So not only does he come back into the game, but his allies only continue to get stronger.
There's CG right now. Demolish is on, plenty of damage, finding a stun onto the support. But again, the ult comes across, stopping TL, pushing them back. Now where they're being engaged, he's exhausted. He's taking a lot of damage. Impact's gonna try for the play. He's already burned the flash, but he can't get into the opposing lineup and will not find a single stun. A clean disengage for G2.
They actually tried to set up that dive onto Team Liquid. Incredibly dangerous thing to do, especially against the cannon, but Mickey coming out clutch once again. Wonder looking for an execute, but again, not quite reaching the threshold to find that kill onto Team Liquid.
Yeah, G2 poking around, getting some harassment down. They do burn the flash off of Kennen, which is huge. But again, no kills being given over yet.
The fight was 3 ults for 3, but Caps' cooldown is much shorter than the rest, and Impact also burned a flash. That was a cooldown lead to G2 as we look in the aftermath of that fight. Turret stays alive, and they both go back to clearing their camps here. Waiting as stopwatches come in, and the beginning of his own Ya's Hourglass here for Impact.
Mickey X here. The exhaust is critical in dealing with impact on the Kennen. Also, the flays backward to deny Kennen those initiations are what will mean the difference in these team fights, whether G2 gets caught in the big electrical storm or not. Right now, they have a pretty good flash advantage there with Perks having his own, and the access to the Lantern has made a big difference.
I completely agree with you as well, Kobe. I think that how each team executes upon these fights will be so crucial in how this game plays out as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands.
Corday takes it and burns the Glens, get away from this one, but that is still a great Enchanted Crystal Arrow as one turret does fall. Now the hook into his Impact. They try to burn him down. He gets a stopwatch off, but not the slicing Maelstrom. Here comes the engage. It's all about Olaf, and it's about Akali. Wonder finds the first and Impact. It's a 1-for-1 so far to the back line. Jensen finds a second. Smithy is low, but the team able to push forward. Team Liquid lose the turret. They win the fight. Now it's time for round 2. Jensen is low, cannot find the kill. It is Caps who says he can get the kill and sends him back to Lissandra. It's 3v3 now in this fight as the channel comes in. Look for the pull. G2 get kill number 3 and number 4. Double Lift is alone and he will die. The ace for G2.
It all came down to execution in the end. Things were looking so good for Team Liquid at the start of that fight, but the longer it went on, the better it was for G2. Caps comes up clutch. He gets the turnaround for G2. He finds finds the triple kill, and they walk away the victors.
It was all the re-stealth from Caps and Wonder after the team fight, going to their control ward and pulling the surprise attack. Here's another look at the secondary initiation. Impact with the Zhonya does deny the execute, and Xmithy goes in on Olaf to create some room for Jensen, who flashes over to finish the kill onto Perkz. At this point, Team Liquid split, and they lose track of Wonder and Caps. Going into this control ward on that bush, like we talked about, they find the surprise onto Jensen. While CoreJJ and Doublelift were pushing mid lane, they simply cannot join to make the 4v3 matter. And G2, after picking up that kill onto the Akali, they can turn on the rest of the Team Liquid members.
And now a play towards Wonder at very low health. He's gonna find a stun on the one side, and without the Lantern, Perkz is an option, but no, puts the ult down, able to walk away. And Wonder regen 70% of damage taken. He's back to fighting shape right now as G2 looks to fight more.
Kennen is sitting in the bot lane. He does have his teleport and the ultimate available. Looking for potential flank wards on the minimap, but currently there are none. TL choose to disengage, and both teams just continuing to posture. I think you hit the nail on the head, Kobe. That decision-making from TL in that moment, if they'd all just committed to either going for the mid tower or grouping in the river, maybe that fight could have gone in their favor, but the split decision, G2 was immediate to capitalize on, and they were able to get the outplay.
Top side.
Looking for Caps. He does have the Akali ult under his wing, so he can get really, really far. TP now comes in for the squad. Look how much damage he gets towards Jensen. Nearly picks up the kill, and the reinforcements are in. A stopwatch burn, and in goes Kennen, trying to turn it around. 1 for 0, make it a 1 for 1. If Wonder is now dead, Xmithy trying to stay alive, but the kills just come through fast and furious. G2 win yet another team fight.
And Baron is standing right here, primed for G2 to force right now. They already have plenty of wards down. They're going to go straight for it.
Claps has arrived. 7 kills on the Sylas, takes the better of the matchup. And look at this, a 2,000 gold lead. Baron of formality. Team Liquid will only knock down an outer turret. G2 will not be stopped this close to the championship.
Things were so close between these two teams. Ooh, Caps, he's looking for CoreJJ.
He's gonna get that kill. I pretty much guarantee it. Braum running for his life, but he's gonna fall as well. Make that kill number 8.
Yep. CoreJJ stays around to finish off the turret for Team Liquid, trying to get something back for themselves.
Wow.
G2 now with the Baron buff. 20k damage done in this game by Caps.
Ooh, will he spot Doublelift though? Looks like he's not going to go for it. Doesn't have vision on the enemy side. Yankees will steal away some of these camps, but that top lane play snowballed out of control for Team Liquid so quickly. We're going to have a quick look back at it. Notice how quickly Cap steals away the Akali ultimate, but also notice that Jensen doesn't have his ulti as well. So the moment that the TP comes in, Team Liquid realize they have to disengage. If they can get the Kennen in, maybe they can turn it around, but it's already a 3 versus 2 by the time the Kennen shows up.
Yep, G2 also had Jankos en route on the way to the top side. And G2 now wearing the Baron buff will siege on mid lane. Next wave is going to be a tremendous amount of damage. Bottom side is held by Wonder with his own Baron buff, taking down the secondary turret.
And an AP Braum ult. It's pretty decent damage. Doublelift drops about 2/3. Regenning up now. This mid turret going to be taking a lot of damage now as well. And Team Liquid unable to defend that one as now the arrow comes in, barely dodged away by Jensen. That could have been a kill picked up as the Shroud was already down. Team Liquid maybe look to re-engage. Rek'Sai is in the bottom lane, but they're going to find a hook from Wonder as well, and TL cannot find any such engage.
So G2 just playing on 2 lanes right now. They've secured both the tier 2s in bot and mid. And a lot of ultimates are still available on both sides. TL, they don't want to take the gamble right now. They're just trying to wave kid, just trying to buy time and wait for that small mistake to come out from G2 that they can then try to capitalize on.
Predator burn for Xmithy doesn't do much of anything as the mid lane clear is now the objective for Team Liquid, trying to weather this 90 seconds of Baron buff remaining. Still 3 waves to go on each of these lanes though, and G2 could absolutely, if they play their cards right, knock down an inhibitor turret. Gold lead 5,500. They've got more to do.
Look at how quickly Wonder moves between the 2 lanes, going from bot to mid, utilizing the camouflage from his W and the mobility boots helps change the numbers so that G2 always have the threat of a 5-man in the event that TL tried to fight.
Another attempt right now is pretty good damage comes out of Caps, but able to walk away, not getting caught just yet, waiting for what could be an engage out of TL. This turret chunked lower and lower. 2 more cannon shots will knock it down. And right now looking at the bottom side, a nice stun, and Wonder kites away. Now is this the attempt for impact? They find a slow. They find almost the stun, and Yanko's gonna burn the stopwatch. This could be the team fight. In they go as he's still slicing Maelstrom. And it is just that, slicing up Team Liquid. And suddenly it's one versus the world, and he cannot stop it. A clean ace, and even as fast as the last one. G2 looking at a sub 30-minute win, and they are a single game away from Europe's first ever MSI trophy. G2, the kings of Europe, about to be the kings of the world.
The early game was so much closer in this second game. Team Liquid were in a very good position. Impact on this cannon